What up, everybody? JP Finlay, Redskins Talk podcast. Hope everyone is doing well, staying safe. Mitch Tischler, Pete Hailey here joining me. We are brought to you by the great people at Oarsman Automotive of Virginia. We ride with them. Want you to do the exact same thing. We have a terrific interview coming up with Chris Simms, NBC Sports football analyst. Really a quarterbacks guy. Everybody knows that he ranked Dwayne Haskins 39th out of 40 quarterbacks, and we wanted to know why. So we asked him. He explained it. You got to watch this one on YouTube because his visual, the way he explains a lot of this stuff is with actual physical movements, and it's really interesting. So I recommend that. If you're listening to the pod, download it there, and then go watch it on YouTube also. I want to jump into the interview, gentlemen, but is there anything we need to discuss right off the top? We're going to talk about we talked to Ron Rivera and Dwayne Haskins. We're going to do that after the Simms interview. Anything else, boys? You want to say hi?
Let's get to Simms.
Get to Simms.
All right. Brought to you by Oarsman Automotive of Virginia. I think we're going to go do an Oarsman afternoon. Pete's coming back. The country's opening back up. The state of Maryland, the state of Virginia, everybody's saying okay. I actually have quite a juicy plan that I think you guys will like. I want to go do an Oarsman afternoon, maybe next week, maybe the last week of June, somewhere in there. We'll give ample time. Yes, Pete, I see you making a golf swing. That's not what I was thinking, because usually we go to Oarsman at like 1:32 in the afternoon. I think we go to Oarsman, and then we go to Dudley's for a drink on that patio. And we can all stand 6 feet away from one another, but doesn't that sound glorious?
That sounds spectacular.
I saw on Instagram that they were opening up the patio, and I longed for it. I yearned for it like people yearn for Mitch on their chests.
Let's go to Chris Simms.
It is always our pleasure to bring in our friend, NBC Sports football analyst, Mr. Chris Simms. Chris, thank you so much, dude. We appreciate the time. First and foremost, everybody healthy, happy, you're doing okay, and all the pandemonium?
Yeah, everybody's good. It's good to see you, JP, and the rest of the characters here. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, everything is good. The world's still a little weird, as you guys know. I mean, come on. We're sitting here doing this right now in our homes, and there's the delay of us talking and all this crap, but can't complain too much. And it seems like we're going in the right direction, which I'm very happy about. I definitely am, and I'm hopeful that we will have NFL football this year.
Me and you both. It does seem like things are trending. Soccer's about to start back up. Basketball, hockey are coming, and I think the NFL has really pushed the right buttons throughout this, and I think they're coming back. Obviously want to talk to you about your quarterback rankings. I look forward to it every year. Dwayne Haskins, pretty low on this list. But before we get there, I want to ask you something. You're a wise person. You have a young family. Our boy Pete has decided to become – he has multiple homes now. He not just one apartment, but two apartments that Pete is now paying rent on. Does that seem like a sound financial strategy, Chris?
I mean, no, it does not. But I don't know. Maybe Pete's swimming in cash, and we just don't know about it. It's just, it's no problem. It's just a drop in the bucket. He can make it rain whenever he wants. But no, trust me. Save your money now, Pete. Okay. Before you get, a family and too many kids, because then that money just goes everywhere. And it's like, I find myself asking my wife, hey, can I buy myself some sneakers this week or something? So, you'll have no power over your money before you know it. So save it as long as you can.
Yeah, I mean, this 2-run thing is already stressing me out. I just stare at my Wells Fargo account 10 times a day. Nothing changes, but I still just check to make sure whatever money I have left is there. It's bad. It's bad. Of course, I'm a journalist, so that field is not exactly thriving right now either. I'm very stressed, Chris, so thank you for telling me that I'm being an idiot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Join the club. We're all stressed. We're all losing money right now. I took a pay cut. That's just the way it is right now. So
did I.
I don't know. Yeah, so did you. I mean, I think all of us have, for the betterment of our companies, careers, other co-workers we have. And I am sorry, though, Pete. Seriously. I know that's not easy to deal with, and hope you get that figured out.
Thank you. It's really my choice, so you don't need to feel too bad for me, but I appreciate it. And maybe I'll become a property magnate at some point. I don't even know if I'm using that word correctly, but I would like to fix it.
You can't be
– property magnate is to own lots of property.
You can rent lots of properties. JP, how much control do you have over your money?
Not much, man. Not much.
I know.
I do the thing where just the money gets sucked out to various accounts before it gets to me. And then I get like a little bit of money that I buy golf clubs with, basically.
Right.
All right, let's get down to business. Every year you rank 40 quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think that's wise because there are 32 starting quarterbacks, but there are plenty of good ones on the bench, and some of the ones that are starting aren't very good, and there's lots of interesting situations. Dwayne Haskins comes in at number 39. The presumed Redskins starter is 39th. I really like what you said about Dwayne kind of in your breakdown. I thought it made a ton of sense. Listen, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'll let you explain, but you said he showed some real flash as a rookie, but plenty of times where you shake your head. I agree with the analysis. I'm not sure I agree with the ranking. Take us through your process.
Well, it's tough. It is. And this is not an easy exercise, And yeah, it is this whole quarterback, Chris Simms quarterback rank you started a few years ago. And I actually started off on my first one ever with Dan Levitard, the 70 quarterbacks. Because people kept asking me, what's wrong with Jacksonville? Why is their offense so inconsistent? And I went, well, because they have the 70th best quarterback in football at Blake Bortles. And it kind of exploded from there. But
didn't that become a pardon my take thing? I remember you on with those.
It did. Well, pardon my take was very friendly with Blake Bortles, so they were very offended by that. And, Barstool Big Cat started to get angry with me and take shots at me. But I straightened his butt out and put him where he is. And, oddly enough, here we are 3 years later, and Blake Bortles is not in the NFL. So there is something to that maybe. But either way, getting back to Dwayne Haskins and the point. I really like Dwayne Haskins, guys. I do. This is not easy to rank all these quarterbacks. And just so everybody knows, I've ranked these quarterbacks according to the 2020 season. I'm a coach. My butt is on the hot seat. And here is my, pecking order for guys who, I trust and would want most to be the starting quarterback of my team and so on and so on. So I love Dwayne Haskins' upside. I do. But I'm not so sure I can say his upside is going to be what we're going to get consistently yet. I think it was going to be fair. It is a very small sample size. I think you guys would agree. Early on, it was really rough. Like, whoa, this guy is raw. Then, those last two games leading into the game where he hurt his ankle, you started to go, okay, whoa, I'm seeing some flashes here. This guy looks like he's getting a feel for the position and how to play quarterback and all those things. Still, though, ultimately, I just don't know if I know exactly what he is yet. That's my big concern. It's not a lot of experience in college, not a lot of experience in the NFL. I see the tools. He's got a big-time arm. He's a better athlete than people realize. But I also see immaturity to go along with that. Some head-scratching decisions I thought in the season and even in the preseason when I went back and watched that film. All right? So I think all of those things, let alone, and I know you guys have heard this too, from people I trust, down there that were with Dwayne Haskins in year one, that, he is immature. And I'm not trying to say that to be a jerk, but professionally, he's still a young kid and he's learning his way. And I take that into account as well. So, when I hear all of those things and then, my eye kind of tells me the same thing when you evaluate the film, that's ultimately why I ended up having him there at 39. But he has the type of talent, guys, to certainly make a huge jump going into year two. I just can't, what do I want to say, write it in stone or put my name on it yet to go, oh, I'm confident. I've seen enough. This guy's a top 20 quarterback. I'm not there yet.
Well, you said your rankings are based on you being a coach in the hot seat. Let me put you in Ron Rivera's shoes for a second. If you have to start a quarterback for this season, who are you starting? Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, or Cam Newton?
Oh, well, listen, I think Cam Newton's better than all of them. That's for sure. I really do. Now, the Washington Redskins have invested a top 20 pick in a quarterback that has talent to be a top 10 quarterback at some point in his career. So I think the fact that you've invested in him, listen, for this second, yes, Cam Newton would be the guy to go to if you really wanted it to happen right now. But I don't think the Washington Redskins are necessarily building for this second right now, too, right, guys? I mean,
Right.
they're trying to build something to be special 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and I'm not so sure Cam Newton's the right answer as far as that's concerned, especially when you have a top 20 pick at quarterback on your roster already. So very good question, legit there. But no, I think ultimately you go with Dwayne Haskins and you let him develop with some of this young, unproven talent that you do have on the Redskins side of on the offensive side of the ball already.
How much does your ranking of Dwayne have to do with Dwayne himself versus the situation he's in with a left tackle who we don't really know about, receivers, aside from McLaurin, we aren't sure about, all those things, tight ends that don't really exist as of now?
No, those are real issues. There's no doubt. I try, though, to do my best, Pete, to not let that influence me, right? I do. I try to just evaluate the player and what he is doing. There's certain guys where, I've, had some conversations where, okay, let's just take one, for example. People were like, you're going to take Sam Darnold over Jared Goff? And I said, yes, I am. Well, and people look at the baseline things and just go, well, the stats and the wins and all that. There's more, there's context to these type of situations. And I do believe that if you put Sam Darnold with the Los Angeles Rams, the talent they have around him and all of that, that he can make every bit as many plays and more than a Jared Goff. So I try to just look at it as the player and not let, the support system or lack of support system affect me in as far as that specific evaluation.
That's interesting because I thought maybe I'd ask you that and you'd say, oh, it has so much to do with the Redskins' bad situation around him, and fans would say, oh, okay, maybe Chris thinks Dwayne is better, but he just has bad talent around him. But you're saying, look, it's just Dwayne focused, so I think that's a good clarification.
Well, but Pete, but for you to know too, the real, and this is the tough part about this, and we'll see, going in, but yeah, is there enough around him and enough creativity coaching-wise, that comes into it, the talent that can actually accentuate the guy's talents at the position so he can really show you what he's got too. And that's sometimes where it gets tough. I've had certain guys on here on the list where I look at him and go, I'm not sure exactly what he is yet because the team is so bad around him and the pass protection's not good and people don't get open that, yeah, I do have to make a little bit of a projection or, just go by my experience and things I've been taught and all the great quarterbacks I've been, so fortunate to be around. But, yeah, I do think that can affect maybe his growth going forward. We've seen that with Mitch Trubisky, and I'm blanking on another one. Sam Darnold would be another one. Hey, you want your top pick to flourish at the quarterback position, and as an organization, if you want to make it look like, hey, we made the right pick and look at our quarterback, then put talent around the quarterback to make yourself look successful, and the fact that your quarterback's going to look successful now, and everybody's going to go, oh, look at this team. They're quarterback whisperers. They really know how to evaluate a quarterback. Hey, Patrick Mahomes is awesome, but he did get to step on the field with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins from day one and just unleash it. And that certainly helped his confidence to flourish and make plays and do things like that too. And yes, Dwayne Haskins is not in the stratosphere as far as help around him like those guys have right now, like a Patrick Mahomes.
Forgive me for my internet issues. I'm so ready for Zoom to go away. But you brought up Trubisky, and to me, now granted it's 39 versus 38. I would take Haskins 7 days in a row over Trubisky. I just think Dwayne is here's what I want to ask, I guess.
Yeah.
What I want to watch for Dwayne this year, what will be the keys to see if he really is going to be the long-term face of this franchise can he keep his completion percentage high? Because when he's dialed in, he's a very accurate passer. And you talked about his last 2 games against the Giants and the Eagles, and that really helped. And then you got to see these chunk plays. You got to get downfield. Redskins haven't done that. Dwayne is willing to go deep. That's been there. So that's what I want to see targeted.
Yes.
What do you want to see targeted for Dwayne that he could make a leap in your rankings for 2021?
Well, I think you hit on it there, and a little bit of that goes, again, back to the talent around him. Like, do they have enough guys that can stretch the field and take advantage of, the things he can do on the field and all that? But let me hit on this, too. First off, do I think Dwayne Haskins has more potential than a Mitchell Trubisky? Without a doubt. I just want to make sure you know that. I mean, I think Dwayne Haskins has the type of talent to be a top 10 quarterback in football. I don't think that about Mitchell Trubisky. But right now, I did give Mitchell Trubisky the edge because of experience. He has been a starting quarterback in the NFL for 3 years. He did lead a team to a 12-4 record. And in that year, they went to the playoffs, and he led the team down the field in a clutch drive, which ended up being the double-doink field goal, right? So I think what I'm saying is I think Trubisky's has enough experience right now for me to rank him above a guy where I'm not so sure what he is, but I know his potential is greater. So I gave Trubisky the respect of what he's done a little bit there. And that's what happens in this a little bit, because some of this is so close. But, JP, I think you make a lot of big points. First off, I think what I've seen at times is the ball get away from him. I do think he has some mechanical flaws at times where he leans forward too much as a thrower. You need to be leaned back. He can lean forward and get in some weird positions to where he's really having to throw the ball with all arm or something like that. And then, you guys hear me still? Are you still good? You got me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, I got scared there for a second. So that was a little concerning to me. And then, I just want to see the ability to – because at Ohio State, it was a very simple offense. It was max protection. It was 2 and 3 receivers out, and that was it. And I need to see him grow that way too. Hey, we're going to send 5 out. We're not going to max protect you. Do you know where your issues are? Do you know if they blitz you here, who's the guy over here you can throw the ball quick to and get it out of your hand and make a good positive play for the offense? Same thing on the other side. Okay, now they're blitzing from this way. Do you know where to get it out and adjust there? Do you know how to adjust the protections and do all those type of things? So I want to see that, a little bit better accuracy, a little bit better just not so careless with the football, which I saw a little bit in the preseason and in the regular season, because I do think he's got the talent to stretch the field and scare defenses and do those type of things. Now, hopefully they can, utilize that, and Terry McLaurin can continue to stay on this path we've seen him on, which is he's a borderline superstar here coming out in 2020.
Quick kind of maybe technical question. We did notice last year that Dwayne, when he'd miss, a lot of times he'd miss high. He'd kind of sail it. What's he doing wrong mechanically?
It goes back to that leaning forward thing. And I wish I could stand up and really show you. But if I was going to throw the ball this way, if you see Patrick Mahomes or Rodgers or Brady, they're like this in this position, right, to throw the ball. All their power is in the back leg. Haskins sometimes would be throwing the ball in the same direction, but before delivery, he'd be like this, and it becomes all arm from there. And now the arm is trailing behind, and the ball will sail high. That's basically what happens a lot of the time. So that, I don't mean to get too technical, but you brought it up, and this is my wheelhouse.
No, that's awesome.
Well, that would be one thing that bothers me, right? And then here's the other part, too. He lets his front shoulder get open too quickly a lot of the time. Again, if it was Brady and Rodgers and I'm throwing the ball at you like this, you've seen the pictures of John Elway, right? Back in the day, he's like this. You want to be in this position, and then you can use your body to uncork, and your arm can really be just the result of all those things you've done right mechanically with your body. Too many times Haskins would be leaning forward, and his shoulders would be open like this already, and then he'd be trying to throw the ball. And he's got God-given talent to where he could get it done a lot of the times. But on those days when, man, I don't got my feel, I don't feel like, I'm not great. You guys know you play golf. Some days you go out there and you go, man, I'm on my game today.
Every day.
Right. And then the other day you have another day where you go out there and you're like, I don't know what it is. I can't hit the ball straight. I can't do anything. That's for a quarterback. You have those days, and that's when you have to rely on your mechanics and your teachings to get you through those tough times. And those are some of the troubles I see with Dwayne Haskins. But they're fixable. They're easily fixed with the right people watching him and him working at it.
There were plenty of problems up front last year for the Redskins with the offensive line. But exacerbated by that a little bit was Dwayne having trouble calling the correct protections. How much can a quarterback grow year over year in that regard, and how difficult is it having to start over again with a new offense with Scott Turner?
Yeah, well, it's not easy, but Dwayne's a smart kid. I know that, and it sounds like he's. I saw the comment he made yesterday or 2 days ago. He basically said, I could be a little more professional. I could be a little bit more mature. I mean, to me, that's the right. That says it all. Hey, we've heard him talk about I'm going to be in great shape and lose a little weight. That's immaturity to me. You never heard Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers go, I'm going to lose a little weight this offseason. No, quarterbacks are usually like OCD type A, like I had 7 grams of protein, I had 9 grams of fat, and there was 12 carbs in there. I mean, that's how quarterbacks are. They're psycho. So that, I think, speaks to the immaturity we're all talking about too. But, this is a big off season, and it stinks that he hasn't been able to be in the facility and around the coaches and get to do walkthroughs. And, that'll slow the development a little bit. But still, I think a lot of the coaching and teaching can still get done through these Zoom apps and whatever else of the X's and O's and learning what needs to be done that way. So they are fixable problems. Did I answer your question? I got so lost in my little rant there that I forgot what the hell the question was, really.
I was just asking about kind of calling protections and reading defenses and understanding the grand scheme of what the defense is trying to do to you.
Yes, he's going to get better at that. I have no doubt. Now, like I said, that's where it really stinks in the facility not to get to do the walkthroughs and see it happen and all of those, because that's where I learned the best. John Gruden can show me on the tape and draw circles and X's on the whiteboard all you want, but when you get to go out there and walk through it and see it in person, you really get to learn it. But, yeah, hey, I mean, Mitch, those are the things I saw on film when I went back and watched all these quarterbacks from my rankings. You can see there's confusion at times at the line of scrimmage, like, wait, I don't know what you're supposed to do at O-line. Like, I'm going to talk to you, but I'm not sure if I'm really right what I'm saying. It shows up. And I just think that's lack of experience, but he can make up for that.
This is before I get to my last one. I just want to say we put these podcasts on YouTube. Everyone should go watch this podcast because Chris's mechanical breakdown is awesome, and then the protein thing was really funny too. So this is a podcast to watch if you can. But my last question
and listen.
Number one point. The Elway thing was very, very cool.
Yeah, this has been great.
I also can I send you my golf swing? I kind of think it'd be a lot of fun to have you break down our golf swings.
I mean, there's a lot of similarities between golf and throwing a football. So that's why you see so many quarterbacks who are good at golf and good at tennis and usually good at baseball, because there's some techniques that carry over there. But I'm not a very good golfer. I can probably teach you how to hit it pretty good, but I can't hit it, very good myself. I just don't play enough.
I think I'd be a very bad quarterback based on my golf swing. Go ahead, Pete.
I think so I'm going through your Twitter here at CSimmsQB, and you tweeted a couple days ago that Drew Lock was your 25th quarterback. And I think, some people may look at that and say, Lock and Haskins maybe played the similar amount of games. Why is there a 14-place gap between those two? So maybe explain the reasoning for that split.
Sure. I love Drew Lock, okay? And I do. And, of course, I try not to be biased with any of this. I had Drew Lock in front of Dwayne Haskins coming out in the draft. I really thought Drew Lock was a total first-round talent. I went Kyler Murray, Drew Lock, then Dwayne Haskins as my top 3 quarterbacks in the draft from 2 years ago. But what I think I saw between Lock and, hey, he didn't get to play a ton in the preseason, but what I got to see in the regular season is a guy that did have command in the offense. In fact, I thought the offense actually expanded with him in the game. Like, they took the training wheels off as compared to some of the guys they had playing before him, which tells me that he mentally was capable of doing these things. They were like, hey, this guy's comfortable. Let's keep throwing some things at him and do that. So, I look at that, and then, he's got a lot of experience playing college football. He's a 4-year starter. Drew Lock is one of those guys that, without a doubt, if he leaves the year before as a junior in college, he led college football in touchdown passes that year. He's going to be a first-round pick. This is what I hate about the draft, or anything. Then his senior year, he comes back, the team falls apart, and we blame one guy. I know there's 100 guys on the team, but there's 22 other guys playing out there. but we're going to blame that guy, just the one guy. And that's just stupid. You know, I think if you put Drew Lock at Ohio State on Dwayne Haskins' teams, you'd have a lot of different results there. But I just think Drew Lock, between that and some of the moments he had in these 5 games he played, they were special. I mean, he made some plays where and had some games where I was like, well, I mean, he's the driving force of the offense. They're not trying to protect him. They're kind of unleashing him. And he knows how to protect the ball, and he's got a big-time arm. And he can throw the ball off a lot of different platforms, sidearm, over the top, flick it with his wrist, you know, off his back leg, whatever of that. So I just think he's a little bit more advanced and experienced than Dwayne Haskins. And honestly, I do like his top-end talent a hair more too, guys. It's not to say I don't like Dwayne Haskins, but those are the reasons I have Drew Lock in front of him.
I remember you came on with us at the Combine, I guess the 2019 Combine, and kind of laid it out then. And at that point, you were like the only – no, I don't want to say only, but you were the loudest analyst supporting Lock, because if you remember, his stock was kind of dropping at that point.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember who the quarterback was that was like – maybe it was Daniel Jones that was coming up at that point?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, where are you on –
We're in this era right now of, you know, again, it's the team has been placed on the quarterback. And I just, you know, I don't agree with that. You know, we're a few years removed from seeing Blake Bortles, Case Keenum, and Nick Foles in the Final Four on Championship Sunday. You know,
right.
We've seen Jared Goff go to the Super Bowl, and I don't think any of us would sit here. You know, you might think I'm crazy, but I think none of us would say Jared Goff is the top 10 quarterback in football. You know, the Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl in 2016 with the worst quarterback in football as their quarterback. He was statistically the worst and realistically the worst. Peyton Manning, 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, but the defense was amazing. So my point is, you know, build a team and it'll make your quarterback look good. And I think that's where a lot of misevaluations happened in the draft a lot of times with the quarterback. We look at, well, Blake Bortles went undefeated at Central Florida. Oh, my gosh, and he's big and strong. He looks good. We got to draft him in the first round. I mean, it's him. He's the reason they won. You know, and that's insane. You know, it's not. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football. He went 4-7 his senior year in college. So that just tells you. John Elway never had a winning season in college. They're like the 2 most talented guys I've ever seen in the sport. So we have to stop putting team and just blaming it or giving all the credit to one guy. Sorry to rant on that, but it's just one of my pet peeves right now.
I love that rant. I love your pushback against conventional wisdom when it comes to the quarterback position. But so my own pushback is this. I'm not even pushing back, but I want to ask you this. When Kirk Cousins was quarterback in Washington, and now we're going on a whole different tangent, but I think this is an interesting conversation. When Kirk was the quarterback here in D.C., he very famously, loudly talked about, I am not results-driven, I am process-driven. To me, the quarterback position, almost more than any other position in sports, maybe a pitcher in baseball, I think you got to be results-driven, right? Like, isn't the ultimate thing that matters winning? There's no more position in sports more important than the quarterback. So I hear what you're saying about you can dismiss college stats when it comes to the NFL as far as wins and losses because teams are different. I mean, Alabama doesn't churn out quarterbacks, but they win titles all the time.
Right.
I get that. But I think once you get to the pros, winning does matter. Where are you on that?
No, it does. It definitely does. I mean, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what a lot of times guys are judged on. I just don't – what I'm saying is I don't think it's always fair. That's all I'm really saying. Sometimes we just put too much on it. You know, football, you'll go and watch a TV show about football. It's the ultimate team sport. It's the ultimate team sport. It's the ultimate team sport. And then it's all boiled down to one guy. And you guys just told me for 10 minutes the ultimate team sport, and now you're saying it's all about one person. And people talk out of both sides of their mouth there. You know, the greatest thing about football is it's the greatest team sport. One of the worst things about it is you could be the best player ever in the history of the sport. If you got a crappy team and crappy coaches around you, nobody's ever going to freaking know. You know, they're going to go, hey, he's a good player, but you might not be able to see his greatness and what he can do. So results are important. I think what Kirk Cousins was trying to say there, and I kind of remember when this came about, I think, of course, he wants to win, but I think he holds himself to a high standard as far as the process is concerned, because he feels like if he holds himself to a high standard with the process, that'll put him in the best spot on Sunday to get the winning result. I think that's probably what he meant by that, even though, it doesn't sound the best when you say that coming out of your mouth.
Right. It was so interesting, too, because we went from Kirk process-driven to Alex Smith showed up, and it was a short period of time, but Alex was almost dismissive of any sort of question that wasn't about wins and losses. It was just different mindsets from different people, and both incredibly driven. And, I'm not suggesting this, but I found it interesting.
Well,
but you're so right.
Hey, listen. Yeah, well, and I'm
Think
sorry,
about
you're
Ken
breaking
Dorsey.
up.
Think about Ken Dorsey, like where his draft status got elevated to.
Well, exactly. I mean, if we were like that, then why wasn't Gino Toretta a star in the NFL? Why wasn't Ken Dorsey? Why isn't Matt Leinart or Tim Tebow? Why? Because I'm sorry, you could have plugged 100 different quarterbacks in college football into those teams, and they still would have dominated college football. I had this little conversation with Tua this year. I like Tua coming out. I think he's overrated, though. I think he got the credit for the machine in which Alabama is. I mean, you just said it. They've been the best team in college football for the past 15 years and really haven't had a notable quarterback because the team is really good. And, so I think that's, a big topic here altogether. And, hey, Alex Smith, okay, so what you're saying, yeah, he might have been talking about more about, the end product. I want to win. But I would also tell you, in a lot of ways, what I watch on film between those two quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins plays to win. Alex Smith plays not to lose. And there's a difference there, too. So the way they play on the field shows me one guy is willing to go for it. Another guy is, I call him Charlie Checkdown at times. He's very conservative. I mean, let's just put this into perspective. Alex Smith's last year at Kansas City, they were the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs, and he was the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL. And they were steadfast on, we're getting rid of you. We have Patrick Mahomes. Why? See, this is why stats and context, stats don't always matter. Context matters. Why? Because, yes, his quarterback rating was good, but he left probably 20 more touchdown passes on the field and another 1,000 yards of passing on the field. There, Andy Reid's going, yeah, I know the results are good, but some of these games were close and we were nail-biters, and we should have won by 30 points. But he wouldn't pull the trigger on some of these people wide open down the field. So that's where stats can lie. Again, you guys got me going today, so I'm going off on all
awesome. I love
it. So good. People
Listen.
have to watch it on YouTube because Chris is so animated. We've taken up too much of your time. Pete and Mitch, if you have one more, we'll go quick.
Real quick. Limited amount of Dwayne that we've seen. Does he play to win or does he play not to lose? What do you think?
He plays to win. That's what I like about Dwayne Haskins. And yes, he is not afraid to pull that trigger, stand in the pocket, make the aggressive throw. He's got an aggressive mindset, and he's a really awesome intermediate to deep ball thrower. And I would think we're going to see more of that this year. It's the other nuances we got to get him better at. Hey, there's nobody open downfield. Throw the check down. Hey, we got a deep play called. Okay, don't look deep too long. Let's get to one of the underneath routes. Get it out of your hand quick. Throw an accurate ball. Let him run and do it. Those are the things he's got to get better at.
I just wanted to congratulate Chris on being more animated than JP. JP is always the most animated person on this show, and Chris beat him today, so congratulations.
Yeah, eat that, JP.
Eat it, JP.
Yeah. I just hope to see Chris in person, whether it's in Stanford or the Super Bowl or the Combine or wherever. Usually we kind of get to see one another a couple times a year. Who knows what's going to happen? But we really thank you for the time. And me, like you, I just want football back, man.
I hear you. And anytime, guys, I'm always willing to come on. You guys are you're great dudes. I've always known that. I always enjoy seeing all of you, and it's always good conversation. So good luck with everything. And like I said, if you need me again, just reach out. We'll get it done.
Thank you, dude. And hey, plug your Instagram. You do a really good job of being Instagram focused. I think sports sometimes we get too zeroed in on Twitter.
I am at Sims Unbuttoned on Instagram, and then at CSimsQB on Twitter. So yes, I do. I like Instagram. You know, Instagram, some more visuals there and things like that, and of course you can show some videos. So I try to make a little bit of an effort there. But thanks for that. I'm glad that you're paying attention. At least somebody is out there.
All right, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Stay safe with you and your family.
Thanks, guys. Be good.
Sims is great. I think, Pete, did you take notes for blogs and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Basically the entire interview.
I love the line where he said he definitely plays to win about Dwayne, because that's what I've seen for sure. And I think a lot of that conversation is about maturity. I think Dwayne has matured this offseason, and I think we'll see less dumb mistakes. So there's always going to be mistakes. I mean, Tom Brady has mistakes, but when you get rid of the dumb stuff, I think that will change a lot. What stood out for you guys from Sims?
I think there was a lot of consternation about Dwayne being ranked so low in his top 40 QBs, but I think when he started talking about this season alone, I still think it's too low for him, but when you talk about just this season alone, I think you can see kind of where he's trending there. But when we start talking about where he could end up next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I think we all agree that this is a big season for him to prove what he can do and to grow. And I think that's kind of the point that Chris was trying to make with his rankings.
It seemed like one of Chris's issues with Dwayne was the immaturity, and I think that leads nicely into our thoughts of Dwayne's pressure that he recently had, because he seems a lot more mature. So maybe while Chris didn't have the chance to see that pressure before making these rankings, and that's why in part he's so low, the Dwayne we're seeing now is so different from the Dwayne we saw as a rookie. So if I did 40 quarterback rankings, I would take that into consideration and bump him up maybe a couple spots, just because he seems a lot more focused and a lot more serious nowadays.
We'll go ahead and go into the presser then, Pete.
Yeah, so I mean,
everybody knows Ron Rivera and Dwayne Haskins did Zoom press conferences. We got to listen and watch. And go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, so Dwayne, I kind of wrote a story about it, NBCSportsWashington.com, and my takeaway was that he, looked different. He's cut up. He's lost 17, 18 pounds from when he first arrived to the Redskins last April. He says it's not really by design, it's just because he's working out so much this summer, but he expects to be more dynamic. So that's going to help physically. He looks different. But the way he sounded was, I think, the more important difference. He says he wants to be more business on and off the field. He's taking things more seriously. He's applying more pressure, and he wants to make sure that he delivers. His line was, "I'm going to deliver." When somebody asked, "Look, 2020 is a big season for you. Do you care? Do you wonder? Do you think that's fair?" And he said, "I don't care about any of that. I'm going to deliver." So I think he seems more confident, more sure of himself. Seems more thoughtful, more aware. He was talking about, okay, I know some people had issues with how I prepared last year. I'm changing that. So yes, the Instagram photos of him with guns and in sleeveless shirts running around are great, and that's going to matter on Sundays. But
let's make sure you clarify that you're talking about his arms.
Yes. Sorry. His arms. That stuff matters on Sundays for sure, but I think it's the stuff in between the ears and what he's saying that fans should glom onto more when they're thinking about where this kid can go in the future.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was him talking about how he wanted to embrace being a franchise quarterback. That's the first time we've kind of heard him talk about that, and how he's kind of leaning into the things that he needs to do to be the team leader and be a franchise quarterback, and I think that goes a long way. I think that line, "I'm going to deliver," is going to be, his signature line. I think you're in a year from now, we're going to look at it the same way we looked at "You Like That" or "No Pressure, No Diamonds" from RG3 or "Stay Medium" from Jim Zorn. I think that kind of assertion is going to be, what we equate to Dwayne Haskins. And for me, I think it's going to be in a good way. What we've seen from him this offseason has been everything that we talked negatively about last year with him in terms of, maturity and growth and understanding, what he needs to do to succeed. I think we're finally starting to see those things from afar.
Yeah. I mean, I hesitate to say finally. It's been a year. It's not like we've been it's not like he's in his 8th year and still hasn't learned or grown.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going a different direction because as far as two press conferences with a football coach and a quarterback, these things were primarily about social justice and protests and Black Lives Matter and everything going on in our country. And it was one of Dwayne's answers about Black Lives Matter that impressed me most. He kind of was pushed on social media to come out and say something or provide a statement. And he was like, listen, I didn't want to do that. Like, I'm not just going to put something on Instagram or Twitter just so I can be a part of something. He said, I wanted to see it firsthand. I wanted to understand what was going on. And that's why he went to the protests. And I love that outlook on things, to not feel like you have to not feel obligated by nameless strangers on the internet, which is something that a lot of us get compelled to do. I just thought that was a really mature attitude and an answer and outlook, and it had nothing to do with football. And I found that impressive. With Ron, the thing that stood out most was that he said he's going to fully support his players and take a knee during the national anthem. And I don't think that's going anywhere. I think the feelings around that are going to be so much different than they were 4 years ago with Colin Kaepernick. And I noticed that Ron said Dan Snyder cut a check for $250K, and that owner is supporting the head coach who is supporting the players. And that all sounds pretty different than what we heard 3-4 years ago. Now, we never heard any of that stuff officially. There were lots of reports out there that I don't know the validity of, but I don't know. That to me is significant progress, I would say.
I think it's progress, and I think you're also seeing the cohesion within the organization that we haven't really seen kind of for a while now. You know, Dan is backing up Ron, who's backing up the players. It's kind of, you know, one message like we've heard Ron talk about, and I think, you know, he was extremely impressive talking about, you know, all of the Black Lives Matter and the protests and all that kind of stuff. But to me, I think it's a leadership that we expected to see from him and that we're starting to see. Right. You know, he's navigating really murky waters that some coaches in the college and pro levels haven't been able to handle that well. And it's impressive to see the way that Ron, you know, took a hold of what you know, he wanted to say to the team and what he felt like he needed to hear from, you know, the players and what he had to say publicly. And I just think, you know, we talked about wanting to see Ron's leadership, and this is really the first big example of us seeing, you know, everything that we need to from him to be the leader that we think he is.
Yeah, every Ron presser has been really, really something really impressive, but I thought the one on Wednesday was like 2 steps above everything else we've seen. Like, there are times where we watch Ron and I'm thinking, okay, he said that, that's a block. He said that, that's something I want to bring up. But when he started with the big opening statement about all the things that Redskins are going to do, and then he talked about all the people he's talked to and how he wanted to be prepared and how he wants to move forward, I just kind of like found myself losing myself in the whole experience and just watching him being like, this guy is so in charge and so smart and so knowledgeable and so prepared and just everything you want. I mean, he's always impressed me, but yesterday, I mean, it was out of this world, and just every Redskins fan should just be so thrilled that this dude is now running your team, and he's running the team to play good football, but he's also just making a better operation. It's going to be better in the community. I'm trying not to get carried away because Ashburn syndrome and all that, but the more I see from Ron Rivera, the more I'm like, the Redskins, I don't know how they found this guy, why the Panthers let him go, but they might have stole one here, and they might be in really, really good shape for a while.
I agree with all that, Pete. And Mitch, you said polished. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's accurate. Because to me, polished has like a layer of like a synthetic finish. I think Ron is genuine. I don't think that's polished. I just think it's who he is. Like I don't think he sat down with the PR staff to work on how he was going to open that. I think that's just his words. And when you start invoking the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and to actually take the time to read those documents to understand how you want to approach these modern topics, and then you couple that with his military background, it just makes you show that this is a guy that does the research, does the homework, forms his own opinions, And maybe that trickled down to Dwayne. Maybe they just both kind of came to that place on their own volition. I don't know, but it's really pretty interesting. One
just
thing
real
that
quick,
Ron talked about.
Polished, I just meant that he's so comfortable in his skin that he's authentic and so easily, speaks the way that says the right words and does the right thing. He's this quiet confidence in what he's saying.
Big man getting defensive, Pete?
No, I think he's explaining his point. I'll allow it.
Also, messing around.
Yeah, I think
I'm just messing around and trying to get you two to move on here. Nobody wants to.
Sorry,
what do you want to say now, Pete?
I want to compliment Ron one more time. With a lot of Redskins officials in the past, we've been waiting for them as they talk for the cringe moment, like, oh, he's going in this direction. This could be really bad. I never get that feeling with Ron. When he's talking, it's just he's going where he wants to go. It's going to be smart. It's going to be real, and I can't wait to hear what he says. JP, move on.
Good. That's a fair point. It's a good point. There have been plenty of cringe moments. Culture's damn good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
So, right. There was a little bit of football conversation with Ron. Yeah. And one thing that stood out is he was asked, I think Standig asked him about, kind of competition on the roster. And normally we'd have a good idea by now who has what spots, who looks to be a starter, who looks to be a backup, all that. And Ron kind of did the Gruden move. I don't know. Ron listed off like 8 positions that are going to be battles. And he talked about left guard, left tackle. We knew that. Tight end. We knew that. Running back, linebacker, corner. We know all those. So next week, we're actually going to dig in. We've got a whole bunch of these planned out where Pete and I, hopefully you guys have been reading the position groups series that we've been doing on NBCSportsWashington.com. It's been fun. Trying to just do things a little different. It's a little more first person. It's a little more back and forth, just with actual, kind of thoughts. We're going to do the same thing next week with the position battles. And to me, all the battles I've named are very legitimate. Like left tackle's wide open. Left guard is 2 guys. Tight end's wide open. Running back is interesting because the only job to me that's really wide open is kind of that first, second down traditional running back. And a lot of that's going to depend on health. But Ron also said, and when I hosted for Dukes this week, we did like an hour on this because Ron said he's expecting a heck of a battle at quarterback. To me, and I'm going to write this because Doolin's going to make us blog it, there is no quarterback battle. That's just Ron being a coach and talking about competition all over the field. This is Dwayne Haskins' job. There are those that kind of think Kyle Allen this, Kyle Allen that. A battle. This is I don't know. There's been like historic battles that end in 3 hours. I think this is one of them. But
why don't you cite one of those? Go ahead.
If you want me to start screaming about my computer and the Zoom and the phone and everything, because I plan on doing that, but I was going to try to get through all the football stuff. I'd love to cite one. I'd love to Google it right now, but we're going to move on. We're not going to start naming internet service providers and such. Do you agree there's no battle at quarterback?
Agreed. No battle. Let's move on.
Yeah, I don't even want to give this conversation any legitimacy. He just said the word battle because he's obsessed with competition. It means nothing.
And yet we're gonna have to write a story about it.
Can't wait.
All right, the pod schedule's a little screwed up. We were supposed to have this Facebook show. It didn't happen. So we had the Simms interview lined up for the Facebook show. Simms is so good, we weren't going to not do that. So sorry. I don't really know when the show is going to start. So I don't really know when the podcast schedule is going to get back in line. We might be going to a Monday, Thursday for a little while here. I don't know. You guys know? Nobody knows anything.
No.
We're trying to figure it out. We're navigating murky waters ourselves.
Mitch is trying to be a little corporately smart here. I think Pete and I are ready to start hitting some nuclear buttons. If I had the nuclear football right now, I'd be punching in the codes.
Well, I'll say this. You might be the one to press the nuclear button. I never would, but I'm certainly not going to stop you. I used to want to stop you, but if you want to push it, go ahead. I'm here for the damage, man. I'm here for fun.
Paranoid Pete would never let that happen.
I'm in the mood for it. I like the little chaos right now. I like where Jason's at.
I'm sitting on my porch in the rain because I can't go in my house because there's 2 children screaming. I can't go in my office because the internet just doesn't work. I don't know why, but Zoom doesn't work in there. It worked for a while. It doesn't anymore. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I'd like to go to the office. I don't know who I need to talk to about this. I would like to go to the office on Wisconsin Avenue. Please let me in there. I'll
It's
wear
not happening,
100
JP.
masks.
Not yet.
Now my wife's asking me to quiet down because she's on a call. There's no schools. School's not allowed to open. There's no camps. There's no place to send my kids. I can't get anybody over here to watch them. What do you want me to do?
This is a nice little
so
window
scary.
into the Finlay household at the moment.
JP got so close to the camera there. That was terrifying.
I think there's a lot of frustrations from people right now. I get it.
Oh.
What do you want me to do? I'm losing it, man. I am losing it.
Oh,
This is.
God.
I don't want to get into how I feel about these things. I just like to go to work.
Well, apparently it's just not possible these days, man.
Maybe I can go to one of Pete's 2 properties.
Dude,
Maybe
Wi-Fi
I
works,
can rent.
You need a bachelor house.
Wi-Fi works at both spots,
Pete,
dude, and no kids in either one.
Move into the girlfriend's house. Let me rent your apartment as an office.
I would love some side income as I survey the rest of the DC landscape and think about a 3rd or 4th place. So you're welcome to.
You need to expand to the beach and the mountains, Pete.
You're right. I need to open up. Maybe even go bi-coastal and move out to the west a little bit too to give my renters some options.
But you're the only renter.
Yeah.
Or get one down in Florida and be a snowbird.
That's true. I'm working out the kinks here, but there's some groundwork that's being laid, and I'm excited about the future.
How long till you go to MGM? So I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know what, if anything, is true. But I heard the Maryland governor is going to open up casinos next Friday. Casinos, gyms, stuff like that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm into it. Open up.
So you're telling me that they're going to open up when Pete comes back, they're going to open up.
And by the way, the apartment that is now my second property is 11 minutes away from MGM. I will be there on opening night. It's done.
Pete.
It's settled. I'll see you there, Mitch.
I need you to pick up my blazer from MGM from the what do you call it?
You left
Poker
it
for
there?
Life night.
You left it there? I had no idea.
You think your blazer's still there, Mitch?
Well, I normally wouldn't, but it's been closed for a month, so maybe.
Yeah, but it was open for 6 weeks after
No, it was like
the
2 weeks.
event. Dude, I left a blazer there 2 years ago. I never went back and looked for it. Or maybe that was 3 years. How many years have we? I don't know.
Mitch, if I found your blazer, I would sell it for a couple extra blackjack hands. There's no way I'm giving it back to you.
Pete, let me ask you this, pal. If the finances are a little tight and you've told us about your spreadsheets to make sure everything's going to work,
Right.
is going to MGM a investment opportunity in your eyes? Is that a way to get more money?
I'm basically looking at it as a chance. Yes, it could go poorly, but if it goes well, it's more money coming in. It's it's another part-time gig, and I'm hoping to come out of it on the right side, because if I come out of it on the wrong side, then we're going to get real iffy here and really shady.
Then you're really going to need me to rent out your second.
I might actually push that.
You want to know a Mitch life motto, Pete?
Huh.
You can't win big unless you bet big.
Oh, I don't know if I can bet big, but I would like to win big. Can I do one without the other?
All you need is one chip, pal. You're in the market. All right, let's go. I don't know when the next podcast is. I don't know where it'll be recorded from. I don't know what rooms in my house I'm allowed in. I don't know why my internet doesn't work. I don't know why Zoom doesn't work. I don't know any of these things. I do know I enjoy recording this podcast with you two fools, and I sincerely appreciate Chris Simms' time. I sincerely appreciate everyone that listens and watches on YouTube. I sincerely appreciate the good folks at Oarsman Automotive of Virginia. We ride with them. Want you to do the exact same thing. And with all of that, stay safe. If you made it as far, I owe you a beer.